Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and as always, welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussions.
Way.
What?
Hey, man.
What? What?
Your camera froze. It was perfect. Yeah. But it wasn't blurry or anything, so you looked like you were just waiting.
Well, greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussions. This time, we are discussing, we have it titled, let me make sure I get it right. We have it titled, Echoes from Beyond. And if you're looking at the thumbnail, you'll be like, hey, that's Metroid. There's a Metroid game called Echoes and Beyond. And yes, it is an entendre on that. But also, this is our Lovecraftian Surreal Month. So, per Skrat's suggestion, we are taking some Metroid universe stuff, reflavoring and packaging it into something more tabletop friendly. So, it's not going to be directly Metroid, but we'll take a lot of inspiration, kind of like we did with the Mega Man month last month, since we had Sci-Fi July. So we're taking the sci-fi and just bringing it into space where no one can hear you scream. So, no. except your fellows at the table who are also screaming with you. So there you go. But before we get into that, we need to actually do Dan's introductions and announcements. So, since we've all been doing this long enough, I'll go first this time, but next time someone else will actually go first. So, I'll go first this time, then we'll do Dan, Skrat. Alright?
Sounds good.
I am Adam Elspain with the Inn of Planar Crossroads. We've got innofplanarcrossroads.com or theiopc.com. Either one of those works. You can check us out. We've got ways to support as well as other things on there for our links to the different places we have our videos backed up. So if you want to check those out, you can. This is the stuff we're doing right now. These kind of collaborations where we are taking these things and converting them over to different, to a printer-friendly and easily insertable into your game. Like if you have a sci-fi game, this probably will fit regardless of what you've got going on. So, or you can take them as independent things too, which our Mega Man one would have been really good as an independent little set of adventures that you can just build off of. They're meant to help you build off things in your campaign, or to start a campaign to build off with. Because we have different things that different ways we work it to make it low, mid, and high level. Or, through the story. Levels don't always matter in TTRPGs. But that's what we've got going on. You can check those out. If you're enjoying these, you can let us know. And that's pretty much what I have. How about you, Dan?
Hey everybody, Dan from Avenue Studios. You can catch us on YouTube, Twitch, and of course avenuestudios.media. Join us for our Thursday night live campaigns, AVS minis. Right now we're in Eldamon with Battles of Bestiary. And every once in a while we have a Scratter Day where we play test other systems with Skrat from Squirrel Plays. And that's us. So tag you're it.
Oh, there you go.
I am Skrat from a Squirrel Plays. That was just mentioned. I am over on YouTube talking about TTRPG and things. A lot of, it was supposed to be a lot of storytelling stuff. I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today, but you filthy TTRPG people took me away from all that. So there is some storytelling stuff, like world building, character building, and some, interesting plot points and things like that. Kind of the stuff we'll be talking about today. Try to keep it where you can use it, no matter the medium you're using to tell that story. That also includes TTRPGs. That's why I got sucked into them. So, and the occasional TTRPG review, which I should do one for Rogue Octopus, because that was very fun and silly.
Yeah. Not to mention...
And it would have been perfect. The one we did was a Lovecraftian horror thingy with the... You didn't watch that? Yeah, we were all... It was we were all locked up in a circus, and we were trying to escape, because a goal is always to escape something in that one. Rogue octopus escapes, and we were weird Lovecraftian monster kind of things trying to break out. So,
I did not know that's what it was about. I thought it was like some cute little thing where you...
It can be. There's a bunch of different settings. Like there's sci-fi, and then the Lovecraft, and just normal. It's like whatever you want. But the goal is you're always some kind of octopus captured, and you have to escape it.
Oh, I'll have to go back and watch that one, I guess.
It's pretty fun. We had a good time. There was a lot of us.
Okie dokie. And I guess that means that we're done with the Dan's introductions and announcements then. Which means this is my audio cue to go to our Levi's Shoutout. Levi's Spotlight. And I was kind of scrambling for somebody this time, but then I came across Quests and Quills. So I had
sounds familiar.
Yeah, I recently watched one of his, and he did I built a Trench Crusade Prayer Tower diorama. That's what he did. And I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And you can go over and subscribe to him. He's currently at 1,730, but that's a little bit above me, but you can always pop over there and tell him squirrels ran out of the inn and down the avenue. So you can just leave that there.
That's funny.
And not give any context if you don't want to. But you can give context. Say, P.S. Planar Crossroads or Skrat or Avenue Studios sent you. But squirrels ran out of the inn and down the avenue. On just whatever video you want. And let's see. I think that's what we've got for him, because he's got these videos there, mainly doing minis and terrain and stuff like that. Though he also has something he does with kids and storytelling, but that's on his site. I'm not sure. I haven't watched enough of his videos to remember if that's something he talks about much on his actual YouTube. But you can check it out. And that's who I've got. So, unless y'all have anything else, we're going to pop over to our Excalidraw, which means we're done with Dan's introductions and announcements. We're done with Levi's Shoutout. It is time to grab your preferred beverage and join us around the hearth as we discuss in Councils of Kane. Well, let's see. This one was
Echoes from Beyond.
Echoes from Beyond. Skull.
Oh.
All right. And my cup is the right cup for this month. So
yeah.
Okie dokie. So, as you guys can see as you viewers can see, if you're just listening, you can't see it, but as you viewers can see, we've got a lot of pictures around here for our inspiration, and I guess we'll go over some of these points that I got on here to get our minds going, and then we'll go over specific points from Skrat and Dan for the world building section and start fleshing things out. So, and we're taking these, we used to segment them off and say we're doing the world building right now and we're doing this right now, and we're still going to kind of follow that flow loosely, but if we want to talk about something that we're putting somewhere in the items or in the characters or in the adventures while we're in the world building section, we still will do that, and we'll make sure to keep you guys updated in the little changes we're making, so that by the end we'll have it all complete and can read out the things that we need to. So we've got a bunch of inspiration things for our discussion here, taking some inspiration from Samus and the Metroid series and stuff like that. So, starting from the top, we've got someone put a picture in of Samus with a
so
blob.
I added that in right as we got started. So that's the Parasite X, and for those of you listening, I'm a big Metroid fan. Parasite X is still new to me, so I forgot it, and it's very silly to say because Metroid Fusion, where this was introduced, came out in 2002, and I played it in 2002, but as someone who started, in 80s with Metroid, I forget about it, but it would have been very good to use in this because the X-Parasite, the way they did the lore, if I remember right, that ended up being the entire reason Metroids were made by the Chozo to begin with. So the Parasite X, I don't think it actually eats you, but it will copy you, like down to your memories. It will make a clone of you. It will get your brain and knowledge and everything. So obviously there's lots of cool stuff you could do there. Just one little Parasite X floating around, just copying people. Obviously you can have all kinds of fun with that. But Parasite X in their world, the Metroid world, their whole thing is just to consume and take over everything. Very technically intelligent, but have a very basic drive. But yeah, I realized that as we were getting started here, that would have been a good thing to throw on the board. The Metroids are pretty spooky as it is anyway, the way they work. Like, especially Metroid 2, it really showed a lot of different evolution stages of the Metroid instead of the typical one in the center there. I think you're hovering around it. That's the one we normally see, but Metroid 2 showed a lot of different variations, and they get kind of dinosaur-y looking and really scary. And big. That bottom right one is Metroid Prime, which came from the Prime series. I think, if I remember right, see, I play the Metroid games when they release. I go buy them and then never again. So I'm trying to remember. I think Prime was a result of a Metroid getting either injected or swimming around in Phazon, which was magic space goop, for lack of better words. But you can see the one on the left, how horrifying it looks. So I believe that's one's from Metroid 2, I think it's one of the variations, or one of the stages. I know the top right one is. That's a very early stage.
Yeah. They definitely have that eldritch horror type of thing going on. And it is surprising when you actually look at the Metroid universe just how much woo-woo there is in it. Like, there's stuff that they say is they give it all these scientific jargon names, but it's really very much like space magic stuff.
It is, and like Super Metroid, the Super Nintendo one, like that was for its time very spooky. Like that was a first for Nintendo. But the Metroid at the end, you just start finding dried up husks left behind of the things it was killing and just sucking dry. So it's like, because the way it works in that, you see this space pirate dude that used to be a challenge to you, and it's just standing there stuck in this position, and when you tap it or touch it on the game, it just falls to dust. So I think that's pretty cool. Spooky factor there.
So if you're doing that, you can take on those eldritch horror and alien menaces. And for those of you new to Lovecraft, yeah, the eldritch horror and the alien menace are oftentimes the same thing, because there's outright aliens like the Migo and stuff like that, but when you look at like Cthulhu and Nyarlathotep and all of those different things, those different creatures, it talks about different planets. A lot of the fiction that Lovecraft did had those influences about it. So taking that into space is not crazy. It's very much in line with it. And there's things like Alien, of course, and stuff that do that well.
Also, this guy just dropped too. He's not a Metroid. He's one of the bosses, but he's in the game. He's more spooky stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Balloon-shaped dude with the eyeball in the mouth thing.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
Of course.
It creeped me out when I was a kid because he's in, and we'll be using some of this. The place he was in a crashed ship in the game, so all the power was out when you get there. And there's no music when you get to that place. It's very spooky. And then he's the boss in there, so he's kind of fades in and out of existence, so he's like a ghost almost. Yeah, spooked me when I was little.
Well, it's all about
good.
Yeah, horror tends to be a lot about perspective and things like that. Speaking of perspective, in these, winning is surviving, and that's why I got the alien picture there. Even though that's probably from Alien 2, which was more about adventure, like a horror adventure, than a horror survival thing. But winning is surviving. You can do that with this, and hopefully your players will survive. There's no guarantee, but maybe, possibly. And then you can always play with space stations going places they shouldn't. That's an Event Horizon thing. You might want a little bit stronger stomach if you watch that movie, but it definitely digs into that whole cosmic horror thing. So you can check that out. And then, of course, there's Dead Space, where you find things you shouldn't.
I was wondering what that picture was.
Yeah, that's the monolith from Dead Space.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then when it comes to actually using the games, hey, it's my favorite thing to say, free maps.
Free maps.
Embrace the Metroidvania. Because you can just use these maps. And something I was saying to Skrat before we started was that these maps, your map doesn't have to make sense to navigate in gravity. Because if you use a space station or a spaceship, especially if the trips aren't for long periods of time and there's not a degradation of body and functions and stuff like that.
He froze it.
Yeah. Then you don't have to worry about muscle atrophy and bone problems.
They do. Let's see. I guess we could check.
Okay.
This Discord broke.
I'm back.
Okay.
We just got to wait for it to start back. All right, so
Yeah.
I stopped when I was talking about the Metroid thing. Doesn't have to make sense when you're in space. Your corridors and stuff like that. And this will be important as we go through navigation through the different locations. You can make them weirdly accessible or weirdly inaccessible, either way, to play with especially with the familiarity that your players might want to attempt to have in trying to navigate this from their perspective, from your player's perspective, not from the character's perspective. Because if we look at things in like the International Space Station, or even in sci-fi movies when they try to be a bit more realistic, those corridors get really tight because you're just floating through space, so you just use the handholds to go along. But if you were to have to navigate that in gravity, then that could get claustrophobic pretty quickly. Because that's a tight space that you're trying to get through. And what's on the other end? What's on the other side? And are you safe in this particular corridor, or is something at the other end or in there with you and you don't even see it? So those are fun things to play around with. Then for when we get to the items, I put the morph ball in there because that's just neat. It does not make sense for her to go down into a morph ball, but it's still cool.
Well, like a Metroid Prime, it's a pretty big ball. It makes more sense than that one. I mean, I don't know where she goes, but size-wise it makes more sense, which makes the item make less sense, because it's like, they could have just crawled through there.
Yeah. But she can't crawl that fast, Skrat. Come on, man.
That's a good point. And then when you get the spider ball upgrade, you just across the ceiling, so that's fun.
Yep. So we'll probably play with the power suit and with the morph ball some. But we need to go ahead and start talking about like the setting stuff. So I'm going to let me see. We'll let Skrat talk first on his world building stuff, and then Dan talk some, so that we can figure some things out in there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because I think Dan built off of what I had, didn't you?
Yeah, totally riffing off of your ideas. Yep.
Alright, so what I had in mind was distant future. Space travel is, fairly common. We can get from point A to point B, no big deal. How detailed do you want to get that? How much we've built on other planets. But the point is, we have mapped them out pretty good. We know what's where. And totally up to the table how they want to get to this planet. They could be escaping, they could be criminals escaping something and they crash land here, or beginning a Metroid where the space station's getting attacked and they flee from that on a ship that didn't quite make it, so they have to crash land there. Or maybe it's a research team that finds this planet and they're like, hey, this is not on the charts anywhere, we got to go check it out. If you go the crash land route, obviously you would bring it up to your players. It's like, hey, this planet is not in y'all's database. Like, that's the big thing. Where did this planet come from? So as you're on the planet, I thought it'd be cool, they're fighting all these weird monsters, like the Fantoon monster that I just pointed out or pasted earlier. Weird, creepy monsters that don't make sense. They're just spooky and usually like one at a time. And I almost thought it'd be neat if, instead of HP in a sense, plop, you take a hit. Every time you lose a fight, the monster takes one player away. And then you end up finding them later, like all tied up in spider goop or something like that. But that's the one strike they take, is when they get taken away. So it's like you can only get carried away so many times and then you're dead. But there's a reason for that. So you're going around this planet and I like the idea of finding other downed spaceships that crashed here, or some that landed fine and they're all overgrown because they've been abandoned for a long time. You're not finding any survivors anywhere. And anyway, long story short, the planet is what's alive. And it's intentionally terrifying you because it feeds off your fear. That's why the monsters don't kill you. And the monsters might not even be real. Like, they might just be your own imagination playing against you. Like, it's doing some brain hallucination thing to you. But that's why it's intentionally keeping you alive and just trying to scare the poo-poo out of you. So the goal is to escape. That's why I kept defaulting to we crash landed here, so we gotta get off. If you were a research team, you'd have to have something that grounded them there once they got there. It's like, okay, you landed, but let's say you have your engines charge, and for some reason this planet is making them charge very slowly, so you're here for like 3 days. Survive. Don't die. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Living planet. Not so much that the planet is, got a mouth and chomping things. It's just somehow alive. This big thing floating through space, and it just consumes what lands on it.
Yeah.
Sounds
good to me. And you built off of that, right, Dan?
Oh, go ahead. Say that again, Adam. Sorry.
You built off of that, right, Dan?
Yes. Yeah. No, I love the alive planet idea. Side note, when you were describing that too, in Pirate Borg, the setting when we played it, he had a kind of a mechanic like that, where when the character died, they went back to the starting thing because you can never actually die because you're in death. I'm wondering if that would work really nicely. Because I'm just thinking, at the table, if someone gets stuck, how long do they have to wait before they get found again or something? So that would be a mechanical way. Possibly everyone. I like that idea of the stack, almost like a sanity stack. 'Cause each time you think you die, you have to like almost experience your death, but you're not dead.
Yeah.
And you wake up somewhere.
When we were doing our Mushroom 5e campaign a long time ago, there was a dungeon they were in, and there was a spot. It was basically just Dark Souls. I had campfires or bonfires around they could activate, and that's where they would respawn at, but they could only respawn like 3 times, I think, so the fights were extra hard. I think I just told them, like, hey, you can or they found an NPC and they basically just said you can respawn 3 times and then you're dead for good. So
it's perfect.
yeah,
I like that because it would be scary the first time if you don't.
Yeah, well, and it was
Right.
it was a big twist for them because they were all playing that custom mushroom race, which normally the way they work, if they die, so long as somebody gets a piece of them, they can just regrow them. Their stats just get shuffled up. So now it's like, oh, we can actually die down here.
Ah. I like that. So I think it is doable and could be really fun to do. Kind of the same ideas. I thought an abandoned research pop-up could be a cool place to find. So with that same idea, and the whole thing I was going off was, is this real or not? It doesn't matter. Like, all of this could not be real. That's something I think the game master could decide. But then you could have, like, maybe it's aliens if you want, or it's just all humans. And then you could have data logs. I thought the fun thing to do with data logs, one is either, we've talked about before, Adam especially, talking about, like, making them ahead of time, some kind of printout or something, or I like to record audio stuff, but then have them, like, contradict each other and stuff, which would mess with the players on whether it's even real or not. Like, the information is contradictory. It could be
what
really
you could do,
fun.
instead of the monsters being an imagination and whatnot, it's actually the other crew. That's what they turned into
Ooh, yeah, that's good too.
when they got fully consumed and became part of the planet.
I like that a lot. I mean, a slight bump is one of the item sort of ideas I thought of was, could you incorporate monsters you fought into you? And maybe that's like, it's the inevitability. You need to do it to survive, but it eventually takes you over in the end. So yeah, I thought that's a really cool thing, because then you could throw things in, mess with the players and the characters. And then I thought, I liked the idea of the Alive Planet, maybe flavoring certain locations to vaguely remind you of body parts. Not that it actually has them, but just kind of start, like, sprinkling in that flavor. And I had seen Adam put the, it's not Mass Effect, what is it, Dead Space?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That kind of thing for, like, the Heart Spire. The one thought I had was that you could always see it, but you don't, no matter how much you travel, you can't get closer to it until certain things happen, or maybe every time there's a strike, you get closer to it, it visually gets closer. Something like that, to show progression, but it messing with spatial reality. It's a great horror thing to do. And then I also thought sound effect, because I like to play ambience, have, like, a heartbeat there, but each time it gets closer, you can make that heartbeat sound louder. So yeah, that was some of the ideas I had. I just love the idea of the planet being in some way sentient. And feeding.
It reminds me of Junji Ito's story. I'm not sure which one it is. I'll look it up. It's Junji Ito's story about a star that appears, and basically it is a living planet. That's what it is. Let me see which one it was. Remina. The story's Remina. And it deals with what the humans do when they find out this thing is coming and stuff like that and so on. I'm not going to spoil a whole bunch about it, but the idea that it's its own thing and it's alive and it has its own desires, I do like that. And we can play with that and have it where, so we can take the ideas you guys are putting in there, and then we can start to build out. Some of this will have to be GM information, some of this will obviously have to be player information, because if we're going to do that idea of a planet that's actually consuming stuff, then there's going to have to be that mystery there for them to solve. And the goal of the planet might be to basically form up, like get enough biomass. Maybe it was a creature like the X. We don't have to stick directly with one or the other, so it might be like both the X and Metroid type of creature, where it is able to, I mean, depending on how headbendy you want to get, if it's able to bend perception enough, and we take the duplication thing from the X particle, or whatever it was, then perhaps when they die, sure, they come back, but it's just a copy. It's just a copy that the planet made. So if you die, you die. Like, you become part of the planet. It absorbs your biomass. Now they find the copy, and you play as the copy. The player plays as the copy. And the player doesn't even have to know it. You can just say, oh, they found you. Because that benefits the planet. Because once your function is done, it'll just reabsorb you. And you won't even know. Like, it makes it really good, because then the player...
Stargate did something like that too.
Yeah.
So with the copies.
So this copy is leading the players one way without realizing that it's bad way. It's like, or leading it closer to absorption.
Mm-hmm. It could be too that, like Skrat was saying, that the monsters are previous people. If you're copied enough, maybe glitches start to happen, and
yeah, it might only be able to...
planet can only work so long before things start getting weird.
Before its DNA asserts itself too much inside the body. It can only copy your DNA so many times.
Yeah, you could potentially hint at it with either slight, like, you came back, but now you got a minus to this, but you also have some new feature, some new ability that's...
It's tentacle for some reason.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Somehow you can hear that bump, that heartbeat. You can tell where it is. And on the one side, they'll be like, oh, cool, now we can keep track of where the marker is. It must be some function of this thing where you get close to death, and it does it. And it's like, no, you're a cop. You don't even tell the person you're a copy.
Right, how bad it actually is. They know it's bad, but...
Didn't we just play something recently where one of the party members ended up being something like that? But they also didn't know until the end. That wasn't the TFE game, was it?
No.
We were fighting the big lefty in that one. What?
Yeah.
I swear this happened, and at the end of the session we found it was the one Grimwood Games did. It's Wes's one shot. One of the players is infected through the whole thing.
Okay.
And I don't think they know it until the end. Yeah, they're copied very, very much like the Parasite X thing. It's a plan. That one that's copying people, and you find out during the one shot. Like, there are duplicates of people, but it doesn't really occur to you that it's one of you. Is also a copy, but yeah, that's fun. That would have been, shoot, we should have read over that one. I completely forgot about it. It'd fit into this super well.
Yeah, totally.
DM Tales, he's making a one shot. So hello, DM Tales.
Hi, Wes.
And if this thing is using a Parasite X style of copying, that means that this may be the way it also reproduces. So let's say, oh, you guys escape, but one of you died while you were there. But you're going back now. And a part of you...
Oh, that's interesting.
A part of you
is leaving.
Yeah. It's like spores from a mushroom.
Well, that is what... Okay, that's the theory of what has happened in Metroid Dread. it hijacks a ship and leaves it. Because, spoilers if you haven't played Metroid Dread for everybody, when you're on your way up to the BBEG on the last level, in the background, there's this ship it's parked, but it's doing that hovering thing like it's ready to take off. You go fight the BBEG, blah, 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 and every time Samus wins a boss fight, she has to blow up the whole planet. So you're escaping as things are blowing up. Pay attention on your way out. That ship is gone. That ship is not in the background anymore. And, the Parasite X things are floating around everywhere. And so it's like, okay, they got somebody just infested a whole other planet with those things.
Yeah. And
it's so much fun after credit sort of scene to add on games. Jake did it with the horror game when you and I were the married couple or whatever.
Yeah.
And everybody died, but then he did the we all woke up and it was just a dream, but then something starts crawling out of my character's mouth. It's like, was it really? I love those things.
Yeah. I think it would make a lot of sense too with the type of organism. If you want to go full on biological with it and say that it's a biological process that this thing is doing, it's using some kind of beacon like in, the Dead Space or something like that to attract in those space travelers or different life forms that are sentient enough to come and find it. So it's already assimilated all the life on this planet, but in order to take over the planets, all the way down to the core and stuff, it needs more biomass. So it needs to keep attracting things. And that's why it keeps on going and going. And I mean, you don't have to come at it where it's completely ready to take over the planet or anything, but because it would have to get down to the core. But you don't have to do that. You can do it where it's more of I wouldn't say it's just starting, because then you would have a problem of, it might not have enough biomass to do anything then. But it needs enough biomass, a research station. Ooh, it would even be interesting if this was a vanished planet that just disappeared and then reappeared one time. But, or disappeared from logs and reappeared.
Mm-hmm.
depending on how far in the future you go, it could be lost because it's off of different charts that have like galactic empires rising and falling type of thing. So you lose some of the information there. But that's more of a nitpicky thing with your particular setting. With this, it would be more of this they're finding this impossible planet or new impossible planet. And like is being said, they're having to figure out how they're going to navigate that. So what do we want to be location 1 then? Do we want that to be the actual...
The whole planet?
Well, the whole planet's probably in this world one up here. So we have more...
Yeah.
1, so I have more space to put stuff there. But 2, these locations are probably good for us to have as ideas for stages of the game. So maybe this location 1 is the space station itself, or we can pick either a space station or a whatever's going to crash land.
Right. That's what I was thinking. It was either where you land or crash land. The stranded location, I guess.
So the
I
first...
think finding a giant spaceship or just a large spaceship on the planet would be another good site to explore.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, that's your dungeon basically, but you know,
Right.
you're out exploring the overworld and then you find this other ship. And I meant to mention this earlier, since this planet is moving around, like you could find a ship from a whole other alien
Yes.
species, so like you would not recognize the tech at all. It could be like super advanced or maybe very early versions of what you guys had. Like, wait a minute.
Mhm.
You could almost throw them a red herring of time travel shenanigans, like if you start having these different tech stages.
What's the one satellite that we sent out and it just kept going until we lost contact? And it's theoretically still going. I can't think of.
One of the Hubbles is like that, isn't it?
I think it might have been. I can't. That the fun little thing, like put it from like real life, some like satellite or research something that was lost in space a while ago.
Finds this flag that has 50 stars. It has this badge on it that has 50 stars and some stripes, red and white stripes. Then there's another one that has this red flag with a star on it. And then, But so like the crash site being the first site is probably good. That way we can do it where the crash site, I suppose they could be responding to something. I do kind of like the pitch black setup where there's this crash landing that's happening and it's unexpected. But you can also kind of make that where, well, the planet itself it's wanting to pull stuff in. It's not fully able to do things, but it can start to affect things type of situation.
I mean, even if you're doing the research team too, as you're going in, everything's fine, and then all of a sudden there's some kind of crazy electrical storm happens, which is actually intentional by the planet or something. I mean, there's plenty of easy ways to take the ship out.
Because the planet, I wouldn't say that it's like a super genius or something, but the biomass on it would be thinking and trying to fill out those needs.
Right.
So, and to it, it's just your food.
Right. Yeah.
It's just nothing personal. It's just business.
It's either pure like animalistic, or you can go Cthulhu where its desires and thoughts are just so far beyond you, it doesn't even.
Yeah, I mean, what does it?
Well, I was leaning towards since we're doing Cthulhu-y stuff, like the way it eats is very horrifying, like the whole off of fear. But you could say its base instinct is just to eat. Like that's all it's doing. It's just the way it goes about it is out
and
there.
what it eats. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I mean, it's the classic thing to do with like fear creates some kind of intense psionic resonance or something like that, and that's something that it just feeds on that. So it is just literally eating, but it's just
a very strange way of going about it.
Yeah. So if the crash site is the first location 2 would be something along the lines of probably a location within the spaceship, the crash itself, and then that third one would probably be, it depends if we want to go with the escape route or with I guess we could put the location to a neural core or something like that if we want to.
Say, if just surviving is winning in this one, is the goal just to get off the planet, or are we
that's
blowing up the planet brain?
Keep doing that. There you go. I mean, basically, my thoughts, because like going over to the plot hooks, it's basically get off the planet. I thought you could, if they realized what's going on.
The good ending.
Which I think is everybody dies, but you maybe blow up the planet, or at least make it go farther away from your home, let it bother somebody else.
Yeah. Well, part of the thing, like with the Call of Cthulhu is starting to emerge, but this guy crashes he's not yet fully formed and, stuff like that, so he's really coming out of his sleep. So the guy crashes an entire boat into him to wound him enough to push him back into or to slow his forming to where it goes back into where he was sleeping. And so a similar thing could be done here with, all of these ships do have reactor cores. And if you set one off, it's been attracting these for centuries, thousands of years, millennia, who knows? Depends on how far in the future you are. So if you set one off, it could set off some of the others and send it back for a period of time. So it depends if you want. It especially depends if the players all have died once, and then they know their copies. Then that means, because the copy might be made not not only so that the creature can continue to feed off of that psionic energy, but also to trap the soul there in the body, that part of the being into that body, so that they can continue to feed on it until it's just so worn and torn that the soul is in shreds. And then, it tosses away the bone. Yeah, you get your monsters. But if you still have enough of your mind and soul intact, you could become cancerous, quote, quote, and destroy at least part of the biomass that's starting to do this, and prevent it from spreading to another planet. So it depends on how dark you want to go. Mm-hmm. I'm all for the dark and gritty ending, so, that's just me. But pretty much everybody has to die for that one, at least once. So this does set up a lot of different endings.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah, I do too. It's definitely how the players play it, how they decide their characters react to these things, what they figure out. I think it means one of the locations has to be kind of like what Skrat was saying with your dungeon. Something else that's previous that they're exploring.
That could almost be like, if you really wanted to trick your players, could be what's the word I'm looking for? Not a fake dungeon, but a fake easing into the game. It's like, you find the spaceship, it's the dungeon. Oh, we're doing our dungeon crawl, and there's basically rats and slimes in there that you have to kill, the low level stuff, but just basic monsters on the planet. If those even exist, I was kind of leaning towards that not, but it would be kind of neat where you have some stuff, and it's dangerous, but they can pretty much go through it, and then they're like, okay, and then they find a bunch of weird information on the ship, and then they get deeper into the planet, and that's when things start getting really weird. Like when they start getting pulled away by weird monsters and stuff. A false sense of security, that's what I was looking for.
Oh yes, yeah.
But with the beginning of the mystery, and then they're like, it's like if you put the weird alien ship out there at the beginning, it's like, what? But then they fight some simple monsters, and they're like, oh, we got this. Nope.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's easy too, because if they crash, they're going there to look for stuff to fix their ship.
Yeah.
If they're a research team, what else are we here to do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that means if we want to have them have the option of escaping, we can have the first one is basic crash site, where things start off like Skrat saying with the easing in. Normal. It's a normal mission. What can go wrong? Just, it must have been a miscalculated planetary alignment thing, something like that. Maybe it's just a wandering planet. You never know. So those after the fall of the Third Imperium, records get lost after so many falls of the Imperium. So, and then you get so then they start to figure out some things are going a little nutty, so they need to get to the control room, which they were going to anyway, but now it's like, we really need to get to the control room and figure this out for the data logs and stuff. And then by the time you get to the third location is, we need to leave now. Get to the chopper. So, and that way you can still have that that will it, won't it spread type of moment. Because maybe this, if one of them dies and then comes back as a parasite, and they get to a populated space station,
They become another planet.
yeah. Well, oh man, that would be like a follow-up mission where you had the space station now, but the space station has got this biomass encrusting around it. It's like starting to form up like a pearl does inside of an oyster, and it's just slowly growing around it, just trying to become a planet.
Man. Maybe you found that out, saw that happening, and then you go back to the original planet, go down to the core, and it's another space station.
Yes. I like the idea
That would explain why it's
crushed and compressed to make the core,
the core of the planet. So it's not actually a planet. Maybe it's like a dwarf planet, so it doesn't have to be as big.
Yeah.
So that way,
It's not a space station, it's a moon.
that's no moon. It's a beastie. So,
Worse.
it will eat your face. All right. So that's actually pretty cool. I'm not going to put that in the notes just yet. Well, I'll put it as a question mark, but it will. That may be the. Well, that may be the deep control room that they're trying to get to. And maybe getting to the deep control room is the middle one, because it's not so hard to get to the deep control room. It's getting out that's the problem.
That could work with the false sense of security. It's easy to go deeper and deeper into the planet.
It's in the Metroid fashion, Everything starts blowing up when you get there, and you have to get out.
Yes.
Every time. She just blows up everything.
Girl's got to do what she's got to do.
Yeah. Well, at least in Dread it wasn't a planet. It was like, at least I don't think it was. I think it was just a big kind of station thing that came crumbling down, which you still had to, do the escape thing. And it made a very large explosion, but I'm pretty sure the planet was still intact. But I could be wrong. Yeah, it's like, it just set off a nuke, but the planet's fine.
Yeah, the planet's fine. It'll get better.
It's a big improvement for her.
Baby steps.
Anyway, we're past...
Grumpy old men.
Yeah, grumpy old men.
We had it bad. We know what's right.
That being said, that's probably going in the bloopers for this time. But that being said, we've got plenty of stuff started off, plenty of thoughts. We don't have it fully populated in here yet, but we have plenty of thoughts for getting this going from in the Echoes from Beyond chat. Next time, we'll be talking about Malignant Metroidvania missions, which is where we'll kind of focus on the missions. We've already been building into that, but we'll kind of focus a little on the missions. And then maybe back and forth fill so that we can have info for the crash site mission, the deep patrol mission, and then the escape shuttle mission. And we'll double fill that. But I think that's everything that we've got here. So, it's time for Skrat's final question.
Oh boy.
Did you have these written down somewhere? Or no?
Not on there.
Okay.
I was actually scrambling to get them before we started because I forgot.
It's your segment, man.
I know. I keep forgetting. I got
I
so
just love
excited
how
about
honest
the
he
planet
is.
and everything.
You could have been like, didn't want you guys to see him ahead of time. Yeah.
No, I'm not. See, why I'm so honest. I'm not smart enough to lie. My memory's too bad to keep up with the lies.
Wisdom.
Yeah. All right. So this is one of those questions that Skrat asks because Skrat wants to know the answer to.
So when you're playing a spooky game such as this, what can players do to contribute to like help keep the spooky mood? What can players do that are good habits?
I have one, but it's like you can do it on purpose, but it's just being emotionally reacting to things and lean into the hyperbole and drama of it. That's why I love playing games with my wife, because she'll just like scream at stuff. There's nothing there. It's just somebody describing something, but she'll emotionally react because she just wants to be in it. That really, because then you feel like you're
Fallout
there.
one. We did.
Yeah, dude.
It wasn't spooky, but there was a little, what's going on mystery kind of thing, and she was getting into it.
Yeah, emotionally invested, just right there. And I'm like, I gotta. So, especially when we're streaming, I try to always just whatever I'm feeling inside, just let it out, because it's so much fun for everybody else at the table. Because you start to feel like you're really there. So I think that's a little thing. Don't be afraid to like, oh my gosh, ew, disgusting. Ah.
Yeah. I think that's true too. I think that would probably be close to my answer. Another one is, if you're a player, because this is what this is asking. So if you're a player, I'd say actually reacting as your character would react. Not just as you would react, but react as your character would react. If you, like, taking what we're talking about today, if you find you are a, we're going to say that you're the one responding to this beacon, maybe, that's been sending off, this SOS beacon that's been pinging, and it's pinging, you're maybe the heavy that's protecting this response team. Well, how would that heavy react? Not how would you, the player, react. How would the heavy react to this situation? Does he have anything in his past that, if this is a psychological horror that's happening, is there anything in his past that he's going to see on this planet that's going to bring that in? And so there's that, responding as your player, as your character would. And then also giving your GM the material he needs to, like a backstory stuff or things like that, that would be necessary to get the most out of that character's participation in the story. So it's a bit of both. Help your GM and respond as the character would.
I like that.
Kind of what I was leaning towards, because I was going to say something like, try not to solve everything all at once. And when you start having these ideas, like, oh, it's this, when you start digging into previous game experience, previous movie experience, it's like, it's like, nope, just character.
Yeah.
What are they thinking? So, and I say that because I do that. Like, I start rambling off, like, oh, it's this because I'm into it. I'm excited. But
Right.
I can see how that's, on one hand, it's like, I also enjoy seeing that as a GM. It's like, oh, they're getting into it. I love it when they start theorizing. On the other hand, it's like, shut up.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, well, the player can say things to the other players, but actually in the game role playing, the character might not know. One, it doesn't have those pop references like you're talking about. But two, using the heavy example again, it's not his job to figure out why there's why there's a SOS beacon coming from the core of this planet, this swampy, sticky planet. He doesn't care. His job is to get down there, is protect people, get them down there, and get them back out. That's it. That's his job. And so that's what the character's worried about. Now the players can be having like, oh, it's pretty cool. I like this or I like that. Oh, the thing. It's the thing, man. But game over, man. Game over.
That was one of my favorite things. The first campaign I ran, when they were getting into some kind of mystery elements or whatever, in between sessions, watching the chat and Discord, what they were theorizing.
Yeah, and that's a great time for someone. The person that's playing the heavy might normally be the the puzzle solver for the campaign, and maybe he's just playing the heavy this time. So if he's doing that outside of the game session is actually a good time to do that. That puzzle solving stuff. So that the smart characters, using quotes there, can actually be smart in the game.
My dice make me smart. There's your comment for the day.
Skrat needs like a merch thing. Okay, so that's the comment for the day. My dice make me smart. But Skrat needs like a merch thing where his squirrel is messing around with a dice, like chewing on it or something. And it's like a nut, and it's got the caption there of "My dice make me smart."
So we decided the other day I need a beanie. This is going to be my merch, the beanie, but it's colored like an acorn, like the band right here that you fold up. That's the cap of the acorn, and it has a little point in it.
Yeah.
And, it just says nuts across it. So it can be my Squirrel Plays merch.
Yeah,
dude.
All right.
Get to merch.
Nuts.
That's my problem on YouTube. I don't have any merch. That must be what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
I got merch. It doesn't help. But it's fun. It's really fun to do.
All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this one. Echoes from Beyond. Next time will be, like we said, Malignant Metroidvania. It's time for our outro. Let's see. Coming back and doing reverse order like we tend to do. Quests and Quills was our shout out this time. Our spotlight. Check them out on YouTube. Check out also A Squirrel Plays and Avenue Studios. Squirrel Plays is exclusively, that's the word we're using, exclusively,
yes, right,
on YouTube. And then Avenue Studios has avenuestudios.media, where you can check out all their links there, like YouTube, Rumble, Patreon, Locals, all that type of stuff. And endofplanar.crossroads.com or the iopc.com, either one of those will work. You can check it out too. As always, have a great day. God bless and enjoy. Bye.
Bye.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.
I'm so sad I'm not going to get to play Prime 4. I'm so sad.
Why is that?
Oh, I guess you were in the chat yet. I was telling, I was like, I'm not paying for a Switch 2. And then $80 for, one game on it. I was like, that's all I'm going to get.
Yes. Eventually it's just going to be the same as a down payment on a house.
What do you think I'm made of, Nintendo? Money?
Well, it's... I don't know, it's frustrating. It's like they don't even have that many games that I want, so... Which I guess is good, because if they did have a lot of games, then I would buy one, and then I'd be buying several games at $80.
I'm telling you, man, PC Master Race.
I'm at the point, I've been at the point for a while. It's like, I will gladly pay somebody the price of a Switch or a Switch 2, and then some, if they can set up my rig to emulate it. So I don't have to go buy the system and just, get the games. It's like,
well,
okay.
Nintendo would have a problem with that.
They would, but what they don't know.
That's fair. There is something to be said about the idea of, well, you want to support a company that's doing good, making a product you like. But I heard it phrased this way. If buying something isn't owning it, then piracy isn't stealing.
Pirating isn't stealing. Yeah, that's usually the go-to argument.
Because that's one of my problems with the Switch. I didn't buy a Switch because I was like, well, I didn't buy a Switch because it's like $200 or something. I got PC Master Race again. But the idea that you've got this thing you want to charge me for, but then I have to pay for an account to use it? Like, I own this hardware. This is mine.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have to
Or if
pay
you wanna
you
get
to
online.
use it. Well, some games require you to be online. And
I do.
you shouldn't make games for a home console that requires you to be online. Just make a PC. Just like,
Yeah.
sorry, Nintendo. No, you ain't got no sympathy from
they're
me.
all kind of getting like that now. We
Well-
don't pay for Xbox Gold or Game Pass anymore because I just
Well, but if I
Someone
buy a
says,
game
like,
on
I can't
Steam,
play these.
if I buy a game on Steam, I can put that onto my computer, and it's on my hard drive, and I own that hard drive that has that game on it. It's like owning the game cartridge. And that's your game cartridge. You own it.